Good morning, Tempo Freaks, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Wednesday. And the Tempo lost to the Valkyries last night. But there was progress. There was progress. And in some ways, there were a lot of good things that happened. We're in our first year, they're in their second year, and we're not that far off. I'm gonna say that right now. And if you watched the game last night, you could see what I'm saying, that the Tempo can compete with the Valkyries. And if the Valkyries are a top 3 team in this league, well, there's some real promise for us. We really match up really well with them. We really do kind of give them problems. And we were doing that pretty good for the most part. We had a lot of different kind of contributors in different ways, and we were doing better at keeping up with them with the threes. We were doing better in a couple different areas, but there were still two key areas that did us in that kind of made the game go south at the end of the game. But also, to their credit, they hung with them for like 3 quarters before the Valkyries kind of intensified their defensive energy in the 4th quarter and made it really hard for the Tempo to score. That was a huge key. And Yara talked about that in the press conference after the game, that the Valkyries had a different kind of defensive energy in the 4th quarter that made it harder for the Tempo to operate. Coach Sandy talked a lot about turnovers and second chance shots for the Valkyries. The issues with allowing them multiple shots on possessions from some offensive rebounds was a real problem, and that she points to that area along with the turnovers that we still need to clean up on the team as the main reasons why the Tempo lost this game. But you know what? They were way more competitive right up until the end. We had almost the full team, just missing Brittany Sykes and all kinds of good stuff. So, I look at this as progress. Last night was a step forward, even if they didn't get the win. This is the best I think they played against. They played good against the Valkyries the first time they played them too in Toronto, but this was good too. There's really only the last game where they didn't really have a chance against them. So we played the Valkyries very well, and I expect us to beat their ass in the future. Although they have swept us for this season now. We will not play them again. And well, we're going to have to wait to get our first ever win against Golden State. I feel like in some ways this matchup is going to be a rivalry. I feel like in the game last night, there was physicality in the first half, and the fans in Golden State did not like some of our players. Some of our players were playing very physical, so were theirs. There was physicality going both ways. I mean, Marina Mabry got very physical things happen to her during the game with getting hit in the face and ran over by Kia Stokes and all kinds of stuff. But also, our players would hit their players. And, well, there was one play in particular where Tiffany Hayes was driving to the basket and Maria Conde kind of like gave her a hard foul. And the fans in Golden State were pissed. They said, "Y'all were dirty." You could hear them over the TV broadcast. That they got really mad. They're very passionate fan base. They really get behind the team and chant a lot. And there's this is the thing I'm learning about the WNBA that's interesting is that fans are very protective of their players. Now, I don't want to be sexist or anything, but is this because they're women? They feel, oh no, don't do such physical harm to any of these women. They're women. They're, women. No, they're tough. They're tough. I mean, I see moments on the court all the time where it looks like Marina Mabry is about to burst into tears because of physicality that she's been inflicted, that has happened to her. And I got my heart goes out to her too. And I'm like, no, don't make Marina cry. No, fuck you guys, you assholes that hit her in the face. I can get behind that energy, but come on now. They're professional athletes. They signed up for this. They understand that there's going to be injuries, but some people that are watching the WNBA, Angel Reese fans, Caitlin Clark fans, they really are protective of their players. And if there's any kind of physicality towards their players, they start saying people are dirty and they get all upset and they're saying this and that and this. Listen, this sport is going back and forth with a little bit of dirty. So don't get all high and mighty, because I'll tell you, Dream fans, Fever fans, and Valkyrie fans, your team is just as dirty as the team that you're complaining about. I'm going to say that right now. And that this league is a physical league. And some of the sexist kind of stereotypes of women being dainty and delicate, and you should protect them and you should look out for them. You got to throw all that out the window with the WNBA, because this is a women's sport. And when I say women's, I mean it like man's, because this is a physical sport and there's going to be physicality and there is going to be lumps and hits and there will be dirty shit. It's basketball. And in some ways, y'all can go ahead and overprotect your player and get all whiny and cry, oh, that's dirty. That's dirty. You did that. This is the WNBA, and people be playing the way they be playing. So just get used to it and stop whining. And in some ways, how do we bust the patriarchy? We let women be strong women, be tough women, and be out on the court playing in the way and not trying to look at it through the lens of the fairer sex. That's what I say to that right there, because this is happening all season. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, this has been an interesting game. The other thing I've noticed about the WNBA this season is the unity of teams and their units. In the NBA, they don't all huddle like that all the time. They do sometimes, where all of them come together and kind of get on the same page and talk about what's going on the court and adjustments and assignments and things like that. But in the WNBA, it's very standard at each break for all five of the players on a team to come into a huddle and get a little exchange of information. And I like that. I like that. In some ways, it's a nice way. I bet you it's mandated in some ways. The Sandy's like, all right, when you guys have a break, go into huddle and share communication and also check in with each other and kind of show that, we're together. Put your arms around each other and huddle up. And somebody may be kind of feeling it after some of the physicality I just talked about, and you want to kind of root for them and kind of cheer them on, kind of give them some pep talk in the circle. Yeah, I see that stuff. I like that. I like that. I feel like that's mandated by Coach Sandy and other coaches around the league. It's like get together and do that, because the NBA, this happens somewhat. Scotty's calling huddles here and there on the court, but not as common as in the WNBA. Not as common as in there. So I got the stars of the day. I got the straight goods on Canadian goods. I've got the Redditors of the day, all the sections of the show that we like to do every day on the Tempo Freak, Raptor Freak stream. Yeah. Yeah, we've got news in all areas of things that we watch. We got we're covering the game from last night, reacting to it. I'll go over the box score soon. We've got NBA news for the Raptors, and we've also got CBL news that's important to talk about today also. So yeah, let's get right to it. And let's start talking about we'll go to the chat real quick and catch a couple of comments real quick. Spud Jenkins, thank you for subscribing to my channel, Spud. I hope you're doing very well. Thank you for putting eyes on the channel. How about that? Ha 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 ha. Lexi, funny. He's saying another day with over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Yeah, I worked very hard to get my grand. This has been a 5-year grind, and I don't over promote. I'm at the mercy of people finding me on their own. I don't go post my stuff all over the place anymore. I could have gone to the Raptors game and handed out flyers about Raptor Freak Channel. No, it's all organic, and it's the real ones that come and find me and stay around. And in some ways, I haven't been soliciting for this. So this has been an organic climb, and it's also been one that has been slow, but it's also been real ones. My number has been going up steadily, which is good. That's the important thing. It'd be one thing if my number just went and just shrunk, but it's not doing that. It's grown every single year, every single day, every single month. It grows. So yeah, it's good. Is it bad that I've resorted to watching 2K gameplay to see what the team likes? No, this is actually something that I used to participate in a lot when I was younger and I was really into video games. I would do simulations all the time. I would get the new team for the Raptors and I would put the roster together with the players that I could get, and I would run simulations to see how it would look before the season starts with the new look. And I'm sure you're running things with Kawhi and Scotty. And that's something that's very interesting and fun to play ahead of time. And also, if you don't play it and you watch it simulation style, it's cool to see too. I hope you added a couple names to your roster for the Raptors yesterday because they did add some people yesterday. And the narrative about the Kawhi trade holding us up from making any moves was false once again because we did sign 2 players yesterday for the Toronto Raptors. So yeah, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. Trevor J's here. Good morning to the Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. Thank you for being a supporter of this channel, a major supporter of this channel. Good game for three quarters, but can't finish the game in the end. Once again, turning the ball over. Yeah, the thing about that, Trevor, is the stats are showing that as the game goes on, the Tempo have a harder time with the point differential and their stats. Their stats go downhill. They can outscore somebody. They can win the first quarter. They can be having the lead at the halftime. In the third quarter, their stats go down. And then the fourth quarter, their stats go down again. It used to be way better at the beginning of the season when they were fresh and they were healthy and Brittany was playing. We had really good fourth quarter stats. But the long season and the tiredness and the lack of a full, complement of players wears them down. And this is purely a true sign of fatigue and that the team is not able to sustain a certain kind of energy and level of play to the fourth quarter. And the stats don't lie. This in the losing that we've had recently, we've lost every single game in the last 14 games except for one, something like that. We're like 1-13 in our last 14 games. The stats of the fourth quarter are very, very bad. And it's the point differential where we're getting outscored by 8 points by the other team on average in the fourth quarter right now. Last night in particular, we were only able to score 16 points in the fourth, and or 13 actually. That's really bad. That's really bad. You're not going to catch up and do right things if you can't score at the end of the game. But we got to give a lot of credit to a very suffocating, active team defense by the Golden State Valkyries. They really did turn it on in the fourth quarter and made it hard for the Tempo to get their looks and shots. I wish Marina had started earlier in the game when she was starting to try and get her offense going. She didn't hit a single 3 yesterday, and that could have helped us a lot. Was Mabry getting going somehow, some way, but they tied her up real good. They really made it hard for her to get going. Really did. Trevor's brought up that the Raptors have made many moves yesterday. Well, if you call it many, 2. I guess you could say many. I mean, for the Raptors and their history, yeah, that's a lot. I was on the hotline with the super fan, Monique Lawrence, of course, reacting to this stuff. Mo and I are in constant contact. I love Monique so much. And even if she's not here with us every day, she's still a huge MVP and a producer of my channel. And she's definitely part of my inner circle of friends as far as talking about the Raptors and staying up to date. And she loves this move that they made yesterday. We talked about it a bit yesterday through our phones. And Trey Jemison is now a Toronto Raptor. Trey Jemison's somebody that I've been watching for a couple of years now, actually. I've been aware of him, watched him play for a couple of different people. But first of all, let's do the Toronto Raptors Redditor of the day. It's Sweeterman. Sweeterman. And Raptors got a center? Huh? Now, is he really a center? That's the thing I would say. The man's height is not all that, but he is a very bulky, strong man. In fact, I was speculating Jemison versus Murray-Boyles in some of this training camp coming up. That is going to be a strongman competition because that's the thing. Murray-Boyles is one of the strongest people in the NBA. And Jemison is in his category. So that's going to be some sort of camp battle. I feel like they got him just to be a strong foil to guys like Barnes and Murray-Boyles to give them an extra chance to go against a guy who's very strong like them because that's what he is. He is strong. Trey Jemison III has played for 6 teams, I think, now in a 4-year career, which is a lot. He's been on Memphis. He's been on the Lakers. He's been on the Knicks. He just won a championship with the Knicks, actually. He was on the Knicks roster and won a ring with OG last season. So yeah, as per Chris Haynes, who is this guy? Does anyone have insight? Apparently, he played with the Knicks last season. Well, I do have insight. I've watched Trey Jemison play in G League in recent years. He is a force. He is very, very strong. He's all about force, but not really finesse. In some ways, his footwork's a little clunky, but his dunking is nasty. And the other thing about him is he's a fairly good rebounder. He does have a little bit of shot blocking. He's a very physical force. That's the thing. He can hold people out of the paint. And he's honestly, he's one of the strongest guys in the league. Let's just put it that way. But he's been borderline NBA player. He's spent a lot of time in G League. And well, he's coming to our team on a two-way. So that means we have all three of our two-ways filled at this point with Chucky Hepburn, Jaden Bradley, and Trey Jemison the second as our two-ways. Now, that can all be switched around according to things. Some people are asking, what about Nate Biddle in the whole scheme of things with Jemison coming? Well, I wouldn't worry about Nate Biddle. I think that he's going to end up being on the Raptors roster still. If not, he'll be on 905 for sure, and hopefully in the pipeline to possibly come towards the Raptors sometime this season. You know, they could always change the two ways in certain ways. They could standardize Chucky's contract. They could standardize Jaden Bradley's contract and then flip and put a two-way on Nate Biddle that way. But things are starting to get filled up for our training camp roster. We have 21 spots in our training camp roster, and well, 19 of them are filled now. There's only 2 spots left to put on our training camp roster. And well, it's the 15 guys under contract that we already had, plus Trey Jemison at 16. And now also Milwaukee Bucks forward Andre Jackson Jr., a real high flyer and a very good dunker, has been added yesterday also on an Exhibit 10. Now, he's in the spot that Jared Rhoden's in, or AJ Lawson. He could make the team, but it's not likely he will. It's very likely that at training camp, he will get cut as one of the cuts, Andre Jackson Jr. So, but he's coming, and he's going to try and make the Raptors. But he's the kind of player that, has a long haul to get there. But Jemison, he's a two-way, so he's in the fold, and he should be on our team for sure. But Andre Jackson Jr., I'm going to guess, is going to get cut sometime in October, just so y'all know. But yeah, 2 new players to the Raptors. Jackson Jr. is on Exhibit 10, which means he's invited to training camp, but nothing more is guaranteed yet. But yeah, he's an interesting player. We've seen him play against the Raptors in recent years on the Bucks, and he's been a very aggressive, high-flying kind of guy. So it's very intriguing to see how he does around our team. So yeah, checking in on the 2 acquisitions for the Toronto Raptors yesterday: Trey Jemison, Andre Jackson Jr. That's right. Let's see. Trevor Jay's brought up that the Cleveland WNBA team released its motif, its style, its colors, and its name yesterday. Cleveland Sirens. They're not going to be the Cleveland Rockers, which is the original team for the WNBA. Cleveland Rockers. I thought they should get that because it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's such a good name, but no, they want to be the Cleveland Sirens. Well, I got to give you my opinions on their logo and their color scheme, because some Tempo fans are being all butthurt on Toronto Tempo Reddit right now. They're saying, I seen how the Sirens released their stuff, and it's so much better than ours. I feel so bad because the Tempo have such horrible nickname and logos. Fuck you. Our logo is badass, and our nickname is fine. It's grown on me. I think Toronto Tempo is fantastic, and I love our colors. People that don't like the Bordeaux, shut up. And why are you glazing this Cleveland Siren stuff? That stuff is tacky. Their shit looks like the cover of a toilet paper package. That's what it looks like to me. Trevor J., I hope you're laughing right now and that you heard what I just said. That's right. That's exactly what I said. Their packaging and their logo and their color scheme looks like it belongs on the outside of shit paper. That's right. That's what that Cleveland Siren stuff looks like to me. So, we can crack on everything. You guys try and say, oh, the Tempos logo is if New Balance logo and Indiana Pacers logo had a baby. Yeah, in some ways you're right, but there's a look to it that's nice, and the bars mean something. The 6 lines mean something, the 6 parts of Toronto. And, the logo is fine. Toronto's stuff is good. Trust me, it's gonna look better and better as time goes on, as we fill out the image and the whole thing of what Toronto tempo and logo and colors have possibility to do. This is just the ground floor. We're getting the basic inaugural gear and stuff right now. Wait until we a mascot. Wait until we get a little bit more variation in some of the gear and the things that we're going to do with the Tempo brand and name and colors. But yeah, Sirens came out yesterday, and I'm telling you, it looks like a toilet paper package. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, toilet paper package. Y'all's logo looks like it's used to wipe your butt, is what it looks like to me. Yeah, Trevor, I hope you're ROFL rolling on the floor laughing. That's right. I hope you are, man. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Trevor's also saying this. You can learn a lot from your mistakes when you aren't busy denying them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. If there's issues in your life that's not working, you got to face them. You can't run away from them. And in some ways, you got to try and be just honest with yourself. Some people just can't be honest with themselves because they have something they're doing and they know it's wrong, but they want to give themselves an okay to do it. And it's not the right thing to do still. And that's definitely words of wisdom right there. So yeah, thank you for the words of wisdom. Blessings Jones family. That's right. Trevor's saying this: Niara, Maria, and Anisha, best players last night. That's your three. That's your three. All right, let me go ahead and do my 3 stars of the game for the Valkyries versus the Tempo last night, game number 2. My number 1 star of the game is Niara Sabally for the second straight game. She's been in a real zone against Golden State. In some ways, she's been on fire from 3. She's been the best three-point shooter in the last 2 games because she's been so steady with it, and they look for her for threes. Mix in some drives to the basket. Niara can recognize when she's got a big on her that's slower than her, and she'll go right around her and attack the basket. And she has a diversified offense. In some ways, going from being a backup big on the Liberty to being a starter on the Tempo, she's starting to blossom in more ways in her game. And that means like different levels of scoring, which, the 3-point shooting, the drives to the basket, the mid-range stuff, the close to the basket stuff, she's just been really top notch. Now, she did have 2 free throw misses in the 4th quarter that deflated us once again. If there's a flaw and a thing that's pissing me off about her, it's that. It's that we're on a mission to try and come back. We get some free throws, and she clunks 2 free throws in a row and misses them. That is so deflating, and that really does kill momentum. But alas, she still was the best Tempo player last night. In 32 minutes, 21 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 2 of 4 at the free throw line. Those 2 free throws I just talked about. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, a minus 14. And once again, she's taking hits to the midsection and grimacing from the rib injury from Angel Reese and just being a fighter and staying out there and battling, just battling. Niara is a battler, and I have a lot of respect for her. In some ways, she's giving me Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon vibes. Like, I'm getting too old for this shit kind of stuff because she's in pain and she's like, oh, this stuff is, the losing sucks. The ladies do not want to lose. Sandy doesn't want to lose. The players don't want to lose. We don't want them to lose. And it's tough. It's tough to go through a lot of losing. And you can see it wearing on the women of the Tempo lately. But yeah, Niara's a sponified fighter, and she is out there mixing it up and putting it in there physically. And I love her drive, and I love her aggression and the way she's scoring right now. She really has been stepping up So Niara Sabali is definitely my number one star of the game. That's 2 times in a row. She was the last time too. My second star of the game is the person who's just been picking up the pace and is everywhere and took most of the game to score, and that's Julie Alamon. And the reason why I love what Julie did yesterday is because, well, assist to turnover ratio, 8 assists, 0 turnovers in a game that was very tough to play against a defensive team like the Valkyries. Julie taking care of the ball like that was awesome. We saw Julie playing excellent defense when she's on an island against a bigger offensive player and coming out with a good defensive stop. We saw Julie sweeping around and quickening up the game by pushing the pace with the ball very, very fast up the court. We, in fact, saw Julie chase down a loose ball that the Valkyries were both closer to, 2 of them, and she got her hand in there and pushed it out and pushed it forward and got down the court for an easy layup. But she was so fast. I had to give her credit just for being fast and for picking up the pace and doing all kinds of stuff like that and looking for people. So 31 minutes for Julie, 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. That 3 was a long 3. She was a bit far from the 3-point line. And I loved when she made it. 1 rebound, 8 assists, 0 turnovers, 4 steals, a +3. Yeah, Julie is I'm getting more and more into like, all right, I understand why Julie is so important to Sandy and why we are very lucky that Julie Alamon was the first pick in the expansion draft for the Toronto Tempo, the first Tempo player ever in the history of our team. And I'm proud of her because she's really been playing all out as a competitor. Look, we have not been winning. And it's easy for them to just take time off and, yeah, who cares? We are a losing team. Julie's going all out. She's 11 on a 10 scale with her effort and her energy and what she's doing. And I have to respect that because it is a real force and it is a real power for us that helps us win. So salute to Julie Alamon. Keep running, keep going. You are so fast. And thank you for excellent point guard work yesterday. You know, I was wondering why she's starting along with Yusketa and Conde when people like Morrow and Rice and Harrison are back. Well, I actually kind of like this look with the starting lineup. I was shocked that Kiki Rice didn't start. Instead, Sandy went with the Euros. In some ways, it made us have a better bench. But I still feel like in some ways the people that came off the bench, Harrison and Rice and Morrow, were kind of still feeling their legs. Morrow, obviously, in her first game as a Tempo, they're still finding their offense from coming back from injury. And that's why Harrison and Rice aren't in the starting lineup instead of like Conde or Alamon. So I like Julie starting. In some ways, Kiki needs to start too, though. It's a really good problem to have that you have like 4 guards that should all be starters with Brittany coming back healthy. That would be very tough to figure out between Julie, Marina, Kiki, Brittany. You know, there's a lot of choice here. There's a lot of choice. So, you know, I liked it, the look. And in fact, last night, I felt like the Tempo had a stronger bench than usual because you've got Morrow here all of a sudden. You got Harrison and Rice coming off the bench too. And that kind of did make us look like a little bit more of a complete fleshed out WNBA team with the starters with that. In some ways, you don't want to hurt Maria and Laura's confidence by taking them out of the starting lineup. So I can understand why she kept the starters the same way. But this is going to be something that she's going to have to adjust over time as Kiki Rice gets back to full speed and Isabel Harrison possibly might need to be starting too. You could even try Morrow in the starting lineup at some point before the end of the season just to see that look also, Sandy Brondello. My third star of the game and final star of the game is Anissa Morrow. Morrow made her debut last night, and she gave us, you know, I didn't realize I would need a bingo card to watch her because she started tapping different things that are fun in on bingo card. Well, she got a flagrant, mark that on the bingo card. She got a 3 right off the bat. That was her first shot as a Tempo, and she made it right at the top of the key. She got also a block shot. She had a plethora of different kinds of stats and really cool key moments. And I liked her composure. Like Kiki Rice, she plays on 2 feet. And that means that she's very rooted and very fundamentally strong to the ground. That's what I mean. You can tell what I'm talking about with Kiki Rice. And Moro is that way too. And now we got a forward that kind of plays like with a toughness and a compactness like Kiki Rice does. And in some ways, I can tell she's birds of a feather with some of our already existing tempo players. Her and Mabry are definitely connected. She called her Mama Mabry before the game in her introductory press conference with Monica Wright Rogers, Mama Mabry. And we saw their connection in the game at one point when Anissa made a shot and Mabry had to come over and dap her. So yeah, I thought it was a very successful debut. She showed a variety of different things she can offer towards our team, and the rebounding was nice there. It's interesting how she's undersized, but she really does hold space to collect rebounds, and she's very smart in that way. So there's a lot of intelligence in the game of Moro, and I appreciate it. So she's going to be a great addition, and in some ways she's built like Kiki. Let's just put it that way. And if you know what I mean when I say that, 16 minutes for Anissa in her first game, 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, made her only free throw, 5 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and a block, a minus 17. Yeah, not a bad start. In some ways, we got a little sampler platter of what she offers. And I love the 3 right away. I was like, because I wasn't expecting her to be a prolific 3-point shooter, but she is. She could shoot threes. And then the block was nice. And even the flagrant was nice. I didn't care about the flagrant. I was just like, well, she's a little physical. And well, in this league, you need that from what I said earlier. Honorable mention to Maria Conde for sure. She had one of her best games of the season, no lie. But in some ways, if you watch the game, you might think that she was so haphazard and chaotic that it took away from the tempo being kind of reeled in. But she was very good also. I easily could have made her one of the stars. And she is a very strong honorable mention. 30 minutes for Conde, 17 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 5 of 10 from 3. In fact, I have more confidence in her 3-point shot at this point. Like the broadcast was saying, when Marina's out there with Maria can shoot threes better because she's the secondary 3-point shooter and there's not as much attention towards her. So yeah, I like that. Maria's 3-point shooting was top notch yesterday. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. The turnovers were ugly. And in some ways, there was one turnover where she tried to advance the ball to Niara and it went straight out of bounds. And you could tell she's like beating herself up about it, that she's got to pass better. But see, this is the thing. Maria Conde is doing some of the riskiest stuff out of all the tempos on the court right now. She's very risky with her passing, and she's very risky with her opening up and just chaotically driving down the court. And there's nothing wrong with that. In some ways, high risk, high reward, right? Well, sometimes she's not going to get through the risk and it's going to be a mess up. But when she does get through the risk, that high reward does happen. So hang with her. I know some people have said they're sick of her. They're kind of annoyed with her because she's just too chaotic. I really am into her at this point. The more the season goes on, the more I understand why she's a good player for us. And one of them is that, like, look, her and Yascada, when they're open for 3, they're good for 3. And they're pros too. I mean, that's the thing. They're pros and they're out there playing their asses off. So I have a lot of faith in those 2 Euros right there. Yeah, minus 11 with the block also. Maria Conde, honorable mention. Sometimes she's a little chaotic, but in some ways it's like, look, she's going for home run balls and she's not making them all the time. Yascada, 25 minutes, 11 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, a +5. So we outscored them when Laura was on the court by 5 points. Yeah, I mean, I think that she's such a useful player. In some ways, she didn't play as much yesterday as I thought she would, but that was because we really were giving a good look to Morrow. And also, Harrison's got to get her time off the bench too. So yeah, Yascada was fine. She was mostly pretty good. Nothing too outstanding though. Mabry had a tough night. Mabry was interesting. She had one game off the last game, and she's coming back. So in some ways, she's a little rusty, and like she's not coming out gangbusters, trying to shoot like she normally would. She really, in the first half of the game yesterday, doted on her teammates and being a decoy and kind of setting their teammates up. And she was focusing on playmaking and defense and things like that because she really wasn't shooting a whole lot in the beginning of the game. She was very good at getting Maria Conde open. And while Marina is such a team player, you could look at the way she plays and think she's selfish and she's just taking a lot of shots. She can go into a mode where she is so helpful at cultivating offense for her teammates because of the gravity that she draws. And she does do that. And that's kind of what she was like in the first half. In the second half, she tried to get a little bit more aggressive, looking for shots, but really most of it was inside. She had that nice little bit of like stop and pop kind of stuff right in the lane, but the 3-point shot was covered up. We did a good job covering up their threes in the first half for most of the game, but at times we didn't get to people like Saloon, and they made their threes. So Maria Mabry, 35 minutes, 12 points. That's a quiet night for her. We know that. 4 of 11 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 4 for 4 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, a -9. Yeah, it's an okay stat line for her, but we need more offensive power. And once again, one of the biggest problems for the Tempo right now is getting bench points, is getting overall collective scoring to match the total points by the other team. The other team can manufacture a lot of points if their starters are all in double digits. And meanwhile, we've got a few starters that don't like getting double digits. Julie, I'm looking at you. But, we need, our big gun, Marina Mabry, to be a big scorer. And well, she was tied up a bit by the Valkyries yesterday. Isabel came in for only 8 minutes. Maybe she's kind of working through things and getting into more conditioned shape. 3 points for her. She hit a three. That's what she did. 1 for 3 from the field. And that's basically it. She was only out there for a sec, was a +3. I'd like to see Harrison get more time and do more to contribute. Tiani Key made the end of the game appearance in the very last minute of the game. Didn't do a single thing with any stats. Didn't even get a minute marked, but she was out there right at the end with the buzzer. Was in play right up in the last minute, and I love the fight that they had. They were very dogged. They were down by like 12 or almost 15, but they cut the lead down, and they only ended up losing by 11. But they had cut it down to like 7 and made it really close with a minute to go in a hurry up kind of like competitive way, which I liked. But there were that wasn't really in garbage time because of that. Kiki Rice is really struggling to get her offense going since she came back, and that's natural. There's a lot of things she's doing very solid, if not making her shots that are very good for the team, regardless of whether she makes her shots. But she'll start making her shots again, and we'll get her up to speed where she was before she got hurt, when she was looking like one of the top rookies this season in the WNBA. But yeah, 23 minutes for Kiki, only 2 points on 0 of 3 shooting from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 turnovers, and 1 steal. She's going to look at her stat line. She'd be like, what am I doing out there? I've got to get going. I've got to get things going right. So there's my look at the Tempo stat line. DMPs for Temi and Kia, which make me getting them on my fantasy team yesterday absolutely useless. In some ways, I should have figured, if she's going to run a rotation of only 8 players, Fagbenle and Nurse are probably 2 of the players that are going to be sitting out as the old heads on the team and not necessarily coming into play. It's like in some ways they're giving them rest, but also, in some ways, if you don't need to play Kia Nurse and Temi because you have a full complement of a team, I can understand that why too. But I honestly, I don't agree with Sandy only using 8 players in a rotation yesterday. I think that she should go 10 because the Valkyries looked a lot fresher in the fourth quarter when they were able to do their frenzied defensive uptick. And we were not matching that. And I would blame not being totally rested or having energy because we were playing a shorter rotation. So don't do this, Sandy. Play more Tiani Key at some point. Like, give her a stint in the first half, even if you have to pull her right away because of fouls or rookie mistakes. Just give her a little bit of more time because I want to see you guys developing Key, Tiani, and giving her meaningful minutes instead of this kind of like come in right at the end for garbage time. And honestly, you could have played Kia Nurse a little bit more in this game or a bit in this game just to kind of spell a little bit for other people to get a rest. Even if you only played Kia for 5 minutes yesterday and added her to the rotation, I would have liked it more because it's standard in the NBA and WNBA these days that teams are playing 10 people rotations. And, we're not in the playoffs. Why are you playing an 8-person rotation? Go 10. Seriously. Because in the at fourth quarter, it looked like y'all were tired and you couldn't keep up with them. Well, they're playing 10 people. You're playing 8. So I pay attention to this kind of stuff, you know. On the other side, I'll give some flowers. 20 points for Kayla Thornton, former player for Sandy on New York. She was more of a factor in this game than any of the other Valkyrie games this season. She's a very hard-nosed player, and she takes a lot of physicality. So yeah, respect to Kayla Thornton. And then off the bench, the second-year player from France, Janelle Saloon, with 21 points in 21 minutes on 8 of 12 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3. She is fantastic. She's a really good player. I admire Saloon. She is somebody we got to watch out for, because not only is she like a dead eye from shooting outside, she can do some stuff inside too, like she did at times in the game last night. Her shooting reminds me of Durant. Seriously, her release and the way she holds the ball and flips it like that reminds me of KD. Like really, really does. Really, really does. So yeah, looking at the team stats overall for the game last night, real quick. The tempo shot a little bit better than the Valkyries overall. So that's a good sign. 47% for them, but they did make 3 less shots. We did keep up with them on the threes. In the first game against the Valkyries this week, they doubled us in 3 points made. Well, Mabry came back and Conde was able to get open. And well, it was 12-12 in the 3-point shooting. And we actually shot better than them from 3. We took less shots and got 12 threes. The free throw line was 87% for the tempo, so they did a good job there too. We did get 8 less free throws than the Valkyries, who get favor from the refs. There was a lot of times where I felt like we could have gotten to the line and they didn't call it. But I want to say overall, Ashley Gloss, Roy Gibeon, and Blanca Burns were very good as refs last night. They handled the challenges exactly right. The Valkyries losing their challenge was exactly right. And us winning our challenge was exactly right. But there was maybe a few calls that they should have called for us throw line. And that's where I have a little bit of problem. But overall, the refs were very good last night. I want to say that. I want to give them credit when they're good. But yeah, 8 less free throws for us. Well, in some ways, that's the WNBA propping up the Valkyries. That's what that is right there. Rebounding. We got out rebounded this time, 38-27. And the second chance points off offensive rebounds, huge killer for us. 15 offensive rebounds for them. It's such a horrible thing when we play good defense. They miss the shot, but we do not collect the rebound. So boxing out, ending the defensive possession by getting the ball. One of the things I've noticed in the games recently is the Euros don't like to rebound with 2 hands. They like to do this tip shit where they tip the ball and they try and tip it to somebody else. You can't do that in the WNBA. Bring it down with 2 hands. Maria Conde, if the ball's coming to you, don't tip it. Grab it and hold it. Because in Euro, you can tip it and get ahead and do all this kind of stuff. In the WNBA, they're too fast. You tip it, you're given a chance, even though you had the ball and you could have secured it because you were right there and you had the ball on the rebound, but you decided to tip it. And then the other team's jumping in like it's a pass, and they're getting the passing lane and they're stealing the ball right off your rebound. That's a huge problem. And that's part of what the problem is with this second chance shot shit. Is if you don't secure it, if you tip it, the rebound actually goes to the person that intercepts the ball from when you're trying to tip it to another tempo like that. So stop doing this. Two hands, bring it down. This is how we rebound in North America. You can't be doing this volleyball tip shit. So start bringing it down with two hands, seriously, because you're causing easy baskets for our opponents when you're doing the Euro tip. So this is an adjustment some Yuskata and Conde need to make. The tip could work if it's the right situation, but y'all are doing it too often. It shouldn't be your one of your first moves. Your first move should be two hands, bring it down. The tip is only the Dennis Rodman tip is only if you really, really have it, and that is the right decision at that time. But it shouldn't be standard to do all the time because you're not getting the ball secured when you do the tip, is what I'm saying. Assist to turnover ratio for both teams, pretty much the same. We were 22 and 16 with 22 assists with 16 turnovers, and they were 21 and 14. 21 and 14, slightly better for them. Slightly better for them. Yeah, 9 steals for them, 8 steals for us. And the points in the paint, 38 to 30 for the Valkyries. And some of that was Kia Stokes using her size on us, Janelle Saloon as well. But yeah, it's a tough game, a tough loss. In some ways, you can see the season's wearing on the women of the tempo, and the losing is also. And it's tough. It's a tough thing to continue to lose over and over again. At least they're on the road. At least they got the freshness of a brand new team and an inaugural season, and they have the promise of getting better and better. And I do really appreciate them playing very competitively hard right up until the end of the game. This is what matters to Sandy right now. In some ways, she understands we're going to lose to a degree, but she doesn't want any excuses about effort and not trying all out, because in some ways, even if you're losing, you want to build the culture and the way that we're going to play. And you do that. Darko did the same thing in his first 3 years as a Raptors coach. The second year in particular was a very losing kind of year of Darko's years here. And the team was demanded to play at a high level and play very all out and play hard, even if they were losing. And that instilled a lot of the culture for the Raptors currently that they enjoy with people like Scotty and Shed and the way they play. So this is good. In some ways, there are a lot of parallels between some of the philosophies of Brondello and Rojakovic. There are a lot of parallels, and they're doing some of the same things, honestly. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying. Trevor's saying, great interview with Anissa yesterday. Yes, I enjoyed getting an introductory press conference on the road in California, and Monica's obviously there too, the GM, and introducing Anissa yesterday, and I loved it. She was very open about being very happy about being a tempo. She knew it was coming. She was kind of hearing it and the rumors, and she knew it was coming. She didn't get surprised by it. So she was very looking forward to it. And she said since she's joined, she's enjoyed it immensely. And I think she likes the new change of scenery. I think one of the biggest things Morrow enjoys about being in Toronto is being wanted and being somebody that is a part of a plan for the future. Because she's very taken to it. And I think she's going to fit in great. I like her personality. She seems very mature and very for her age. I mean, because she's young. She's only in her second year in the league, and she is a younger person, but she carries herself a lot older. And also, I think that she just seems like the right kind of fit. Like I said, she has qualities that are similar to Kiki Rice at a different position. And I like that. In some ways, that's how you start building your identity, by stacking players that have shared values and have shared skills that kind of like, yeah, I see myself in you. Kiki Rice can see herself in Anissa Morrow and vice versa. And that will make you play better. That's right. Mr. Roger Raymond is here. Good morning, Mr. Roger Raymond. Thank you for supporting my channel, and good day to the Raptor Freaks. Good day to you, sir. Hope you've been having an excellent summer and just good things are happening. Mick34 is back in the chat today. Good morning, Mick. Valkyries are gambling. They're keeping their best players under 20 minutes per game. This could be in some ways saving them for the grind of the season as we get near the end of it. And they have playoff aspirations. In some ways, you load manage to a degree. So it makes sense that they would do a little bit of that. with their position in the standings and what they're looking forward to at the end of the season in September. So that one makes sense, and it totally makes sense. Thank you, Mick, for the subscription, and thank you for joining the chat today. Trevor's saying this: Trey is a very physical and strong at 6'10". Yeah, they say he's a center, but to me, he plays like a power forward. In some ways, you know who my comp for Trey Jemison is? It's Antonio McDyess. In some ways, if you guys know the former Denver Nugget from a long, long time ago, Antonio McDyess, Trey Jemison's got a lot of qualities that McDyess has. That same kind of power, a strong player, a guy who's incredible at the rim. If you're like anywhere near Jemison and he's going to throw it down, look out, get out of the way, because him throwing it down can hurt you. He could hurt you if you're in the way of him. So get the fuck out of his way if Trey Jemison's coming to the basket. Seriously, because he will hammer the ball through the basket in a dunk, and you could get hurt in the middle of it if you try and block him. I'm just going to say that. Yeah, there's an energy to him that reminds me of McDyess. If you guys are old school like me, and you know your NBA history, and you know who Antonio McDyess is, he may not have the full complement of offense that McDyess had, and he may not be the caliber, but that's the shades that I see in him is McDyess. Yeah, Antonio. That's right. Let's see. James is saying this. Andre Jackson Jr. is kind of like Oshai Abaji, good defensively, but not good three-point shooter. We got TJD and Jemison as backup threes. Yeah, it's Jemison. Some people were making fun of the whole idea that we have Jamison Battle, Nate Biddle, and Trey Jemison. This is confusing. We have a Jamison Battle, a Jemison, and a Biddle. It's confusing. Jameson, maybe Darko's at practice. Hey, Jemison, come here. No, not you, Trey. Jemison, come here. There may be some confusion in the huddles and the practices this year because Jemison and Jameson and Biddle and Battle. Hey, Battle. No, not you, Jameson. Nate, come here, Nate. Biddle battle. Yeah, Andre Jackson Jr., I'm going to tell you right now, my educated opinion, he's not making the team. He's going to be one of the cuts of the 21 to get to 18. So he's invited. He has a chance. He can come in. Maybe he can do some things to impress. But if he's just really a very athletic guy who can throw it down, but he's an undersized guy in other ways, I just don't see him making the team. I mean, we've got a guy who's 6'4" that can dunk like crazy. His name's Elijah Martin. And in some ways, he's a useless player to me also. So it's like Andre Jackson Jr., I'm sorry. It's very likely you're going to get cut in training camp. That's my prediction right now, is what I would say. Yeah, we got Trace Jackson Davis and Jemison as backup bigs. We also have Biddle. And I expect Biddle to make the regular Raptors. The way it's set up right now, according to Blake Murphy, is we have 2 training camp spots open to invite people. Nimari Burnett is on the Exhibit 10, and he should be in training camp also. He's being counted in this whole thing. I'm not sure about Seth Lundy. It could be very well that Seth Lundy is around practice and a training camp because of his stellar summer league performance. But yeah, we have 15 guys under contract from before. You add Jemison, that's 16. That means we only have 2 spots beyond that, and all the 2 ways are filled now. So Biddle could be on the 17th spot for the team and on the actual roster, but will he be a 2-way or will they give him a standard contract? Because I do want to see Nate Biddle on the Raptors proper. It'd be great if he could play for both teams because his size and being a true center gives us center depth on the Raptors. And I would like that, Bobby Webster and Darko. I would like that. But yeah, we still have the ability to invite somebody else to camp and let them battle to try and make our team too. But the guys who get added on, like Andre Jackson Jr. yesterday and one more person, they're less likely to make the team. You could think like Jared Rhoden or Josh Jackson in recent years, as far as players that come to training camp, get a chance, but they don't actually make the team. So, yeah, I'm seeing that with him. That's right. James is asking this. Do you see Trace Jackson Davis getting playing time this year? He barely got time last year. Yeah. This is a great question, Raptor Freak James, and I appreciate it, man. I think he is going to get time this year. I think part of it is last year there are a couple of weird things they were saying about TJD, that his conditioning wasn't right, that he wasn't connecting and getting things exactly right with his teammates, but he has promise. And the interviews, they talked about him saying he's a part of our future plans. We really do want to use him next year. And that's what makes me think that, yeah, he's going to get time this year. He's going to get time this year. In some ways, he's got to learn the Raptor way. He's got to up his game. My biggest knock on TJD is he's too casual. In some ways, when he was younger, and even in the open gym episode on him, and hearing him talk, he doesn't have a passion for basketball like some of the other guys on the team. So we've got to ignite that in him. There's a certain level of talent and size with him that he's kind of coasted on through his basketball career, but there's a fire and there's a compete that he's not hitting exactly right. And this was part of the reason why Darko didn't play him a whole lot last season, even after we acquired him, because he's got to show that fire and that drive better than other guys next to him to get the time on the court. So hopefully he gets redirected this summer, understands the ways of the Raptors, and he comes back correct this season with a little bit more drive and passion and want to get minutes and earn them. Because that's the big problem here with TJD. It's that he's not putting in the effort enough to outclass the guys that are competing with him, and he's getting the short and the stick of the minutes. So, but he's going to have a little bit more wide open with some of the exits from this offseason. With the Sandro Mamu going to LA and Jonathan Mobo going to Sacramento, there may be a little bit more opening up for him as far as reliance on him and possible rotation minutes this year. So we'll see. But they do have him in the plans, and he's still here. And there is some very good prospective possibilities with him. We just need to get him developed and get him. Like I said, I feel like he needs to give a shit more, because if he really gave a shit, Darko would give him minutes. So we'll just have to see. If you don't give a shit, you're in the NBA, you make a money, you're happy with your lifestyle, and you don't want to go above and beyond like a DeRozan code, well, we can't do anything about that. We can only go about like the prospect, the size, the things that he did in college at Indiana were amazing. But does it translate the NBA because of the heart and the will and the desire? And Golden State didn't think he did it enough. And that's why they didn't value him and keep him. And they traded him to us. And in some ways, well, we got to light a fire in his ass and tell him, like, look, bro, the NBA is not given. It's earned. And you need to fucking earn your shit if you really want to be a full-time Raptor and have a run here with us for a few years. So that's the way I look at it with Trace Jackson Davis. He's got to fucking want it and outclass and outplay people on the team around him to get those minutes. Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Back on the road again. It's a Wednesday, and this man's back at work, and he's behind the wheel. That's right. Isaac's saying this, W streak for the channel. Yeah, we are on a streak here. I think I'm almost to 1,800 streams in a row over 5 years. Have not missed a day since Scotty Barnes put on the Raptors jersey 5 years ago. That's right. I started this channel in Scotty's rookie year, and I have not missed a single day of streaming every single day. Off season also, 1,800 streams. We're very close to 1,800. That's right. 1,800 days in a row, guys. That's crazy. What a streak, Isaac Campbell. What a streak. That's right. Trevor J saying, laugh out loud. It looks like a box of colors, pencils, the siren logo. To me, it looks like the cover of a toilet paper package. Like it's a little whoosh in the siren. It's like you could put that on toilet paper. I could see that in the store. And I'd be like, oh, look, it's the toilet paper. Oh no, that's the Cleveland Sirens logo. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a toilet paper logo and toilet paper motif. That's what I'm saying, man. It looks like something you wipe your ass with. Seriously. Cool Cat is saying this. Good morning, the coach. Cool Cat. We're always wishing the best for her. We love her so much. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. I'm pleased with how the tempo is playing. Defense looks better, and our three-point shooting is getting better. Anissa looked good in her minutes as she is learning the offense. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what one practice in a morning shoot around can do to integrate you to be somewhat okay. Like she didn't make a lot of mistakes. She was very helpful. She had a variety of actions that she was doing to contribute to the team to help. I immediately saw how she rebounds, and I like how she holds position and space underneath the basket. And even against taller people, I can see how she's an effective rebounder. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about her. And well, that's the thing. When you're wanted and you're part of the future, you go more all out. And well, I'm excited about that because this is just scratching the surface. Cool Cat's right. She just showed up for her first game and there's a lot of good possibilities. In a game against us when she was on Connecticut earlier this season, she put in a double double against us off the bench. So hopefully we can get her to like a double double kind of off the bench role in our rotation because that would really help. Because really, one of the biggest Achilles heels for the Toronto Tempo this season has been anemic bench scoring. And that's natural for a team that's an expansion team that doesn't have a huge high level of talent overall, that you may have anemic bench scoring, but it's been really bad in this losing streak recently. It was much better earlier in the season when Brittany was healthy with Marina. But now it's like, can we find consistent people to come off the bench that will score a certain amount so that we have consistent bench scoring? And Anissa Morrow is going to help with this. Well, it remains to be seen. At some point, she may actually end up a starter regularly for us. But right now, she's definitely a good piece to flesh out our rotation and make it stronger and more talented than it was just a couple days ago. And I like that. I like that. Super fan Mo is in the house. Good to see Monique Lawrence. I love you so much, Mo. Thank you for texting me yesterday. She's saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Welcome to the Raptors, Trey. Happy about this one." Yeah, Trey Jemison apparently is a very devout religious person. He is very much Christ first. And in some ways, he's going to be coming in with the fold with a bunch of the other guys that are very, very devout Christians also. Alan Graves, Jacoby Walter, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly. Yeah, these are men of God. And in some ways, Jemison's faith will very much fit in with the level of religiosity on the Raptors team right now. So, yeah, it's very, very good stuff. I watched Jacoby's workout a video that he put up on his YouTube channel in the last couple of days yesterday. And I was very impressed with young Walter in a couple different ways. He was arguing before his workout with the trainer about the importance of the weekend versus Michael Jackson. And it's so funny how Jacoby's such a young guy, but he really does respect Michael Jackson immensely. Like he thinks Michael Jackson's head and above shoulders. And the guy was trying to say, well, the weekend sounds like Michael Jackson, and he's like as good as Michael Jackson. And Jacoby took offense. He got mad. He was kind of like, no, bro, no way. There's nobody on the same level as Michael Jackson. Nobody. And the guy started trying to talk about Beyonce and Drake. And he's like, no, man, Michael Jackson is on a whole other level. How does Jacoby know this? This man was barely a child when Jackson died at the age of 50, like over 10 years ago. Like, how I even remember how long ago Michael Jackson's been dead now. But how does Jacoby know this? He loves Michael Jackson, though. We know that. And him standing for Michael Jackson versus The Weeknd in his latest video blog is amazing. We saw a lot of how Jacoby works out. He works out with children. It's like, no, there was his kids that were there at the workout too, doing the same exact workouts that he was doing. One kid wearing a Raptors shirt, which I love to see. And then we see Jacoby get in the gym and he's practicing a lot of bank shots. And you see how he shoots with his hand and how fundamental it is. And even like while I was watching him take these shots over and over again, these bank shots in the lane, I'm like, I see how he adjusts when he misses. And I also see how he makes it even more likely to go in by adjusting his spin and the angle off the backboard to make it even more OP that this is absolutely going in. And yeah, Jacoby is so fundamentally good. He is bound to succeed. I'm just going to say that. So yeah, Jacoby, thank you for the little window to your world. And he was talking about the Dallas Heat compared to Toronto Cold. And well, he's not used to it being so hot like it is in Dallas during this summer weekend right now, week workouts now. But yeah, y'all check out Jacoby Walters' YouTube channel and give him a subscription. It's very, very good. Very, very good channel. That's right. Superfan Most saying, why do you hate Elijah so much? Stop. Because I don't think he's really in the NBA for the right reason at this point. I'm gonna be honest, Monique. That vlog he put out did more to hurt him with me than to, this is the opposite of what we saw with Jacoby. This is a very good example right here. I just talked about Jacoby's video, right? Jacoby's video was all about him working out. What was Elijah's video about? Elijah's video was about being seen and living the NBA lifestyle and doing all this. That's not the shit that is important. He's living that. He's one of these guys that got the bag and he's resting on his shit now. He's not trying as hard anymore. He's going to flame out. I'm going to tell you that right now, Monique. That man is going to be out of the league in the next year. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because look, I watched that video he put out, Mo, and he was working out fine in the gym, in the ballroom. He was moving fine. Now, for whatever reason that he sat out Summer League, it was a bullshit reason. And you're not going to get far in this league if you're going to want to try and sit out every chance you can. He should have played at Summer League. And Bobby Webster, you can see that part in the video. Bobby is looking him over. You don't hear what they're saying. And he's looking him up and down and specifically looking at his knee and looking at the thing around his knee. And he's like, okay, yeah. He's looking at him. He's looking at him suspiciously, first of all, because this is what I do, Mo. I pay attention to tells with faces, expressions, and way people say things. It's part of how I get my insight. And Bobby's suspicious of Elijah and why he did not play at Summer League. I can tell you right now. And the funny thing is, Elijah put all that shit out on his own channel, telling on himself. And that's horrible. That is horrible. Bro should have played at Summer League. You're not calling Murray-Boyles. And you needed to play at Summer League, Elijah Martin. So he's getting a little too cocky. And he's getting a little bit too like, I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm this good of a player. And y'all are telling me to do all this. I don't want to do it. He didn't want to go to G League in the first place last year. Bro, you're not that good, Elijah Martin. You need to fucking do the things they're asking you to do. And there's another thing that really pissed me off from that video. He left Scott hanging for way too fucking long when they got to the Oakland Raiders practice facility. He's coming by, he's dapping everybody, and he's dapping Emmanuel, and he's doing this whole intricate handshake, and Scotty's holding his hand out like this for like 30 seconds to dap Elijah, and he's ignoring him. That's a bad sign right there too, Monique, that he doesn't respect our franchise player, Scotty Barnes. Scotty had to sit there for like 20 seconds and hold his hand for Elijah. And he even said a very nice compliment to Elijah. Elijah blew off Scotty Barnes. That's fucked up. That's right there. That's not knowing your pay grade and where you are in the roster. You think you're better than Scott, Elijah? That you can fucking do that shit to Scotty Barnes? No, bro. He's not ripe for being on this team for long. I'm telling you right now, Mo, I see all the signs. In some ways, he's making dumb mistakes like Justin Champagnie, and he's going to need to be off the Raptors in the next year. I'm telling you right now, his money is not totally guaranteed next season. And in some ways, he's going to find himself off the team because he's not really a full NBA player. I'm going to say it over and over again. And him dissing Scott like that pissed me off so bad. I was like, how the fuck do you leave that dude hanging? You better dap him. He ignored Scott. He's dapping Emmanuel, doing all this, and Scott's like, yo. And he even said, oh, our real quarterback is here. He gave him a big compliment. Scott gave him a huge compliment. He said, oh, our real quarterback is here because he played quarterback in high school, and he's a good quarterback, Elijah Martin. Well, maybe you should have played football if you're not going to be serious about your basketball career and have DeRozan code. Because I see Jacoby Walter, I see Jamal Shed, I see Emmanuel Quickly, I see Scotty Barnes. I see them all putting out workout videos. And meanwhile, I see Elijah Martin putting out videos about having a good time in the NBA Summer League and just living that NBA lifestyle, all the perks, going out to parties, seeing Pascal Siakam at a party and say, hey, what's up, my boy? Dude, do you know Pascal? Pascal is a Raptors royalty. How the fuck you talking to him like that? Has he ever been your teammate? Have you ever, are you talking to him with honor and respect? as a man who's an all-star, an all-NBA player, a Raptors champion, a fucking top player in the league. You're talking to him like he's just an equal to you. No, bro, that's Pascal, bro. You better have better respect for that dude. Because seriously, man, why you're going to put him in your video even to try and make it look like you know people. I'm just saying, man. And he had to go that Panini thing, and he's excited. He's got his bag. He feels real good. He got a 2-year contract. Well, that feel real good. He may get safe. He may start thinking, oh, I don't have to do shit. He doesn't have DeRozan code. He's out of the league. He's out of the league. Because honestly, first of all, once again, I'll say, Monique, the biggest problem I had with Elijah Martin is that he's a shooting guard with a point guard size, and he can't play point guard, and he's too small to be a shooting guard. So he's fucked. So he has to absolutely work even harder than everybody else, but he's not, because I can tell, because he skipped summer league, and he probably could have played it, and Bobby knows that. And this is so stupid what he's doing. In fact, I would say that Bobby probably regrets giving him the 2-year contract already, and we haven't even started the season. So, yeah, that's what you want to know? You want me to stop? No, I'm telling you what I see, and this is the truth. Just because you love him and you like him doesn't mean that that's the reality of what's going on with him. And what I'm saying is what I see. And I really saw he didn't do himself any favors with that dumb post on YouTube. He shouldn't have posted that. Jacoby is looking good from his YouTube channel. Meanwhile, Elijah's looking really bad from his YouTube channel. Honestly, his YouTube content made me turn on him more because he absolutely showed himself fucking leaving Scott hanging on there. That's disrespectful, man. Don't do that to your dude like that. Seriously, he was ignoring him, and then he kind of ho-hummed him. He's like so happy to dab Emmanuel, and then he blows off Scotty. One of the dumbest things you can do on a team is not respect your franchise face. That's one of the dumbest things you can do. Kaloy's saying this, morning, everyone. Training camp is probably going to be intense this season for the end of the bench guys. People are going to get cut. I mean, 21 come in and only 18 survive. So there's going to be 3 cuts at least. And, when we get closer to training camp and I know the exact people involved, I'll make my predictions and kind of go over how I see the roster forming at the end of training camp for being the regular season. Yeah. Let's see. Monique's saying, never would I thought the Raptors would get someone from Knicks. Laugh out loud. If you know, you know. Why? Because of Azatam? Because of the suing? Because of the bullshit? No, I mean, this is different. Jemison is not like tethered to the Knicks, and we didn't trade for him. He was just out there as a person on the in the pool to grab from, and we made a contract with him. We went and negotiated with him directly. Had nothing to do with the Knicks. The Knicks weren't involved in it. He was a free agent this summer. And we said, hey, Trey Jemison, would you like a 2-way with the Raptors? And he said, yeah, that sounds good. I'll sign it. And boom, that's how it happens. So we didn't make a trade. We didn't talk to Leon Rose or anybody in the Knicks. It's just that Jemison wasn't protected by them. And he was out there floating. And, well, Bobby thought about it and said, hey, let's get what do you guys think about Trey Jemison? Let's get him. That's what it is right there. UC's here. Good morning to UC. Good morning, Raptors gang and Tempo freaks. The name reveal for the new Cleveland team is so cringe. Reminds me of their MLB team getting a bad rename for their franchise. I actually really like the rename of the baseball team. I think that was important to do. I think that, the using racially insensitive monikers for sports team needed to change. So I fully agree with Washington Commanders and Cleveland Guardians. In fact, the Guardians name is perfect for that team because, Indians are guardians of the land. In some ways, we have water protectors here in Canada that look out for keeping our water clean and things like that. These are heroes. These are definitely people that we need to celebrate and need to respect and honor the treaties that we have made with these tribes and the indigenous. And so Guardians is a perfect name for the Cleveland baseball team. It's not cringe or anything to me. Now, you can talk about the siren stuff. Yeah, let's say it's cringe. Sure. To me, it looks like a package of toilet paper. I'll say that over and over again. So, yeah. But yeah, these rebrands, I mean, I get it. There was a high school in Tallahassee that were called the Rickards Redskins, and that's a horrible name. Redskins is not a good name for a team. It's racist. And that, we need to clean up some of that old school racism that was around. People that get upset about the Washington Redskins not existing anymore, they're racist. Let's just put it that way. They're not football traditionalists. In some ways, they liked having that stupid knock on Native Americans in a very public place that was established. And well, they changed it. Thank goodness, because it wasn't a good nickname. And I'll stand on all those, even the one with the CFL with the Eskimos. That name needed to go also, and they became the Elks. So I have no problem with name changes because they're insensitive to indigenous groups. That's a good thing. As a guy who went for Florida State, once again, I'll remind people the Seminole tribe has a deal with Florida State, and they make a huge amount of money off of the university and its advertising and its apparel that enriches the indigenous tribe, the Seminole tribe. So if you can get the deal worked out, like even the Utes of Utah, that's another tribe. A Ute is a tribe. They worked it out with them too, so that Utah Utes can be called that still too. So that's different. It's a specific tribe and specific people are involved. But if you have just a general overall word like Indians, yeah, that's racially insensitive and it's not right. It's not right. That's right. Let's see. Monique saying they even posted the OVO jersey already. He's pumped. That's good. That's good. It's a good organization, and I'm glad he's bought in and he's excited to come, just like Anissa Moro was too. That's right. That's good. That's good. I'll be curious to see what Trey Jemison does for Raptors organization. I'll be curious. In some ways, he's one of these reclamation projects. He's a guy who's been in the league for about 4 years, but he hasn't really stuck or done anything in the right ways. And maybe the opportunity up here could make him blossom, and we could really turn him into a full-time NBA player that's very useful. I don't think it'll be anything like Sandro last year with turning him into a full rotation player, but we could make Trey Jemison a little bit better in his standing in the NBA with his quality of play over time. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. He does smack of a reclamation project for sure. Yeah. Let's see. UC saying this. I agree with Jacoby. Michael Jackson is the biggest musician ever known. So no one is on that level. I went to the Weeknd's concert last year in Toronto, but it's not that memorable, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, the Weeknd is not existing without Michael Jackson. It's very, very true that they have a similar voice. And I mean, that's a huge compliment to Abel that he has the ability to channel sounds out of his voice that kind of are reminiscent of MJ. That's huge. And he really like there's not many people that can sing like that in such a smooth, a beautiful way like that, you know? So it's a huge compliment for the Weeknd to even be said, yeah, you sound like Michael Jackson to a degree. But part of it is that's not just the other part. The elements of Michael Jackson are the production, Quincy Jones, and the writing. There's a lot to Michael Jackson that's improvised, but also on feel as far as the little stammers and noises he makes as he sings, and all that kind of stuff. Abel doesn't do that as much on his songs, but he does to a degree. But Michael had a whole thing about putting in verbal beats to his songs with nonsense like words and breaths and grunts and things like that, and woos and stuff like that. And there's a whole level of feeling to that gives his music even more energy. And you can't deny the influence of Quincy Jones and some of the other people that work with him as producers and making his music so top notch. So there are levels to this. There are levels to this. You can go by raw record sales, and Michael in some ways gets eclipsed by Drake. People like Elvis, Beyonce. These are huge artists that's moved a lot of records. And in some ways, Weeknd is up there, but Michael's on a whole other level. I agree. I agree, man. I totally agree. UC saying, I don't think Guardians is cringe or anything like that. I just thought they were better names, but I highly appreciate the context for their MLB rename. Yeah, like even the logo of the old Cleveland Indians was so racist. And it's crazy how people in Ohio and Indian fans cling to it like they really want to have that racist little face everywhere. Yeah, no, times change. People need to progress. People need to understand history and understand subjugation and wrongs that were done. And there's no reason to rub it in people's faces or degrade them continually just through a logo and a team name when you could easily change it and stop that because there is pain in it. Seriously. That was totally a racist caricature, the old logo of the Cleveland Indians. It's totally a racist caricature. Seriously was, yeah. Chloe's saying the difference probably is the quality of songs back then, and MJ's songs are a whole different level. Yeah, there's a feel that's different than The Weeknd and Michael Jackson too. The Weeknd's very dark. In some ways, you could make the argument that he's a horror artist because he sings songs that are very dark and could be depressing, kind of like a gothic love and his imagery in his videos and just kind of his feel is not totally full of hope. It's more full of like kind of darkness in certain ways. There's some power of overcoming in his songs too, but there really is a lot of darkness to it. Michael Jackson is very light filled and inspiring. You know, songs like "Man in the Mirror" and Human Nature and things like that. They're very bright songs that are very beautiful, and they're the kind of songs that make you feel good and make you empowered. And there's some of that energy in the Weeknd's music too, but that's part of the difference there too. And I would even argue too that Michael was more versatile with genres. That Michael could do a disco song, he could do a rock song, he could do a slow ballad, he could do a lot of different kinds of stuff that the Weeknd can't totally necessarily pull off exactly like him. So there's levels to this. There's definitely levels to this, but he's definitely inspired by him. Definitely. I mean, there's no denying that The Weeknd is inspired by Michael Jackson. That is for sure. Yeah, that is for sure. And you know what? That's right too, Kaloy. That the quality of music was just better back then, and it's kind of crazy to say that because the difference is of more well polished production, where you can really tinker in and make the sound so clean and with no imperfections. But that's actually the problem because part of the charm of old music is that stray guitar strum that kind of wasn't supposed to be there is in the song and it's happy accident and it makes music more real to have kind of background voices or something weird that wasn't exactly right on the recording, but it makes sense for the song and it becomes a part of the song as the song lives on. And but in music today, everything's so perfect, they get rid of all those little imperfections and it's missing some of the character because of that. Yeah, that's a big part of it right there. Monique's saying, enjoy Scarborough Shooting Stars playoffs tomorrow, Lex. Yes, let's do this part of the show right now. We'll do the CBL check in. There's some crazy news out of Winnipeg right now. I told you guys yesterday that Teddy Allen got beat up on Sunday night after he lost to the Vancouver Bandits. They flew back to Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Sea Bears, and he went out that night to a bar. And apparently, it's a bar where Evander Kane got in a fight as a Winnipeg Jet. Same bar. Well, I think this is what's happened, and I'm speculating. I don't know exactly the details, but this is very interesting. What's happened? What the Winnipeg Sea Bears are saying right now. Actually, let me go pull it up because I want to read it to you guys because it is kind of crazy what's going on with this situation. It is very, very kind of crazy. So let me get the actual press release by the CBL because honestly, man, it's kind of very disappointing and it's not good for the season. It's not good for the playoffs coming up. So yesterday, the Winnipeg Sea Bears released this update on Teddy Allen. And this is what they said. Teddy Allen, remember, is the leading scorer in the CBL. He's the number one guy at the top of the scoring list. And he's a former MVP of this league. This is not a bit player. This is not a bench player. This is the leading scorer of the whole season, the whole league. Teddy Allen update. We continue to cooperate with the Winnipeg Police Service on its investigation and have referred them individuals and information based on what has been provided to us from those on the scene. What we've seen and heard to date leads us to believe that Teddy was the victim of an assault at the hands of security at a downtown nightclub. Teddy's health injuries are significant, and while he has been released from the hospital, he will require further diagnosis, follow up care, and potentially surgery, which means he will not be available for our playoff game this coming Thursday. No person should ever be subjected to the brutality of what happened to Teddy Allen, and we are counting on police to fully investigate and hold accountable those responsible for the assault. Our team stands with Teddy, and we're getting ready to win on Thursday. This is crazy. This is awful for the Sea Bears, who are the second seed in the Western Conference. They had a very good year. They're going to be missing their leading scorer, their top player, for a one-and-done playoff tomorrow against, I believe they're playing the Saskatoon Mamba in the first round. This is crazy. This is so crazy. We could have, at the beginning of this playoff, between the suspensions for Scarborough and Brampton and the Teddy Allen injury, the best team in the league that just broke the record for most wins in a CBL season, missing their top three players. Brampton, the second best team in the East, missing two of their top players, and Winnipeg missing their top player, and one and done first round on Thursday tomorrow. I'll go to the game tomorrow, and I'm going to have to see exactly which Scarborough Shooting Stars are even allowed to play, because Miles Powell's definitely probably going to get suspended. It looks like Frank Mitchell's going to get suspended, and Terquavion Smith is probably going to get suspended. There's no official word on the suspensions for Brampton or Scarborough from the fight they had on Monday at the Pan Am Center, but they're likely to come. And this is music to the ears of the Niagara River Lions and the Ottawa Blackjacks, who got to face these two teams tomorrow in the playoffs in the one and done first round. Man, it would be so stupid if the Scarborough Shooting Stars break the regular season record and get 20 wins, and then they flop in the first round at the game I'm going to tomorrow against the two-time champion River Lions because they got in a fight on Monday in front of Drake at OVO Day. It's crazy. It's absolutely stupid. So here we go. We're going to the CBL playoffs with the top team in the league missing key stars, the best player in the league scoring-wise, and the MVP of last year out because of an assault at a bar in Winnipeg on Sunday night. It's crazy. I mean, I think that what happened with Teddy is he was upset because they lost to Vancouver. He was wallowing in his sorrows. He's drinking. He might have been aggressive or mad. Maybe somebody talked shit to him. Maybe somebody came up to him and said something about the game and pissed him off, and he went off and he got into an altercation. And then when the security came to come and get him, he was fighting with them, and he didn't want to leave. And well, you know, security people are actually fucked up too sometimes, because they will beat people up beyond what they should be doing. And it's just putting people out of the establishment. They may actually try and kick the shit out of somebody outside too, just to kick the shit out of them. Well, they didn't realize Teddy Allen maybe is a high profile athlete in their city, and that they're, you know, this is not a good thing. So yeah, if there are any charges towards the bar staff for beating up Teddy Allen, I'd like to see it, because honestly, I mean, I'm worried, because often if bar staff is doing stuff to people, that person did something very wrong. So even though Winnipeg Sea Bears are standing by Allen and saying we stand by him and we trust him and we're on his side, they could do the investigation and find out very much that Teddy Allen was very wrong in some of this too. I mean, from working in bars myself, it's not normal for the bar staff to beat people up unless they really deserve it. Let's just put it that way. And honestly, they shouldn't do it, but they do it too. They do it too. It's just part of it in some ways. Yeah, let's see. All right. I'm excited about going tomorrow. I'm going with Stevie Roots, and we're going to be sitting right underneath the basket near the Scarborough bench at the ends, in the ends, for Scarborough Shooting Stars. And I'm going to be loud, and I'm going to try and distract Khalil Ahmad and the River Lions at the free throw line. That's right. That's right. So I'm going to do my best. Scarborough's a deep team, And even if they have suspensions, well, they got other guys that can come in and play for them, and they'll probably still be very good. So I'm hoping we can withstand any kind of suspensions and still win and still try and get this championship. I mean, they were able to withstand the ejections on Monday and still get the 20th win for their season and break the CBL history. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. UC saying this, I still very much like the Weeknd's concert last year, though I don't exactly remember getting Michael Jackson vibes throughout the show. He is his own great artist with his own vibes. Yeah, his vibes are not really Michael Jackson vibes. It's his voice. It's his voice. It's the way he sings that falsetto kind of like, I was born in the city. You know, he has a nice light voice that kind of is very reminiscent of Michael. Like, we're always trying to find people that are like greatness. Like everybody's always saying, who's like next Michael Jordan or something like that. Oh, you can be like the next Michael Jordan. I said that about Vince Carter a long time ago. He could be like the next Michael Jordan. Well, some people are saying this is like the next Michael Jackson. That kind of energy. It's like if there's a scale and anybody's close to Michael Jackson, the Weeknd's the closest, in my opinion, in some ways. You could also make the argument in some ways that Bruno Mars can sing a little bit like Michael Jackson at times too, especially with Silk Sonic. But also, you make the argument that Bruno Mars sounds just like Sting with his music. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's very Sting and Police, some of the stuff that Bruno Mars is doing. But yeah, Weeknd, to me, he's the closest to MJ as far as his voice sounding. You know what I'm saying? His voice sounding. That's right. Superfan Mo saying this. W stream, W vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. I appreciate you, Mo. And it is always a privilege and a joy to have you live with us in the chat for sure. All right, let's see. I got my tempo redditor of the day. Kerfuffles, of course. Kerfuffles 80 is got the highlight of Anissa's big block on Veronica Burton last night. I love this. Huge block from Morrow as she denies Veronica Burton's layup, and it was totally clean, and it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah, that block was awesome. The three-pointer was awesome. The rebounding was awesome. And even the flagrant foul was awesome, as far as I'm concerned. I loved Morrow's debut, and I'm excited to see her play more. So thank you to Kerfuffles80 for the Toronto Tempo Reddit of the day, which is a huge block from Anissa Morrow. Yeah, that's good stuff. So yeah, Andre Jackson Jr. is on the Raptors on Exhibit 10. He's had 3 years in the league with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's played a total of 172 games, started 52 of them, and averaged about 3 points per game. So he does have a lot of NBA experience, but this is the kind of thing where he's on the last couple tries to make the league. That's what this is for him right now. That's what it is. All right, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Guys, today, the Tempo have been losing so much lately. In some ways, you can make an argument that they're in a pickle. And Pickle Canadian is the pickle jar that I like to reach for now. A straight up 100% Canadian company that jars their pickles here in Ontario. And this is all locally sourced and locally grown and locally produced. And you buy Pickle Canadian pickles instead of a big brand from the States or somewhere else. You're supporting Canadian economy. So yeah, Pickle Canadian. We are in a little bit of pickle with the Tempo right now. This has got full sour salt brine pickles. They're naturally fermented, Canadian grown and Canadian made. It's a natural source of probiotics, all natural, no preservatives added, made by a second generation pickler using traditional brining methods. So yeah, check out Pickle Canadian. These are full sour dill pickles. And man, I love them. They are tasty. And these are the pickles that I buy these days now all the time. So Pickle Canadian, you're in a pickle, you don't feel well. If you eat a pickle, it's a quick burst to fight depression too. The fermentation goes into probiotics and it feeds your gut good gut health and it helps you feel better. Seriously. So eat a pickle today if you're in a pickle. That's what I say. Pickle Canadian. That's right. Trevor J saying Kayla Gray with a G-Wagon from Drake. Okay, I don't even know what that means. It's interesting how Kayla Gray has graduated to being an Amazon worker. And she's like doing games for the States. and nationally in the US on Amazon Prime for WNBA. And the crazy thing is she's not even doing tempo games or coming around us. She's doing the whole league. So congratulations to Kayla Gray for that she got the summer job with Amazon Prime and being a part of their broadcast crew. So she's kind of like a interviewer before the games, and kind of I seen her walking around with John Cal Jones at a Las Vegas game recently. Yeah, Kayla's moved on into some big things there, very big things. Superfan Most saying, can Lundy still make 905? You think? As I said, I knew Raptors weren't done. Um, I don't know. I don't know what Lundy is willing to accept. In some ways, sometimes summer league stuff doesn't translate to coming into this training camp and then being in the team. It could very well be that Seth Lundy put on a show for the whole league and somebody else is picking him up and he's going to be on somebody else's G League team this year. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I think he's on Exhibit 10. I think he is. If he's on Exhibit 10, he should be coming to our training camp. If somebody's on Exhibit 10, it's usually like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's usually like that. UC saying, I wonder if DeMar has any thoughts about joining us. Yeah, all right. This has been so overcovered and talked about. And I just watched Jake's Takes. He came out with an interview with Charlie Villanueva last week. And that was a very interesting interview between Jake and former Raptors draft pick Charlie V. Jake said this. He said himself, I would love for DeMar to come back and play for the Raptors. Oh my gosh, it would be amazing. Young man wants that. But I just posted something in the Discord, in our Raptor Freak Discord server, saying that basically DeMar has told the Kings that he does not want to come off the bench. And that this is one of the issues with him with the Kings, is the Kings were trying to sell him on coming off the bench, and he does not want to do that. So think about that, guys, with what DeMar's saying as far as what he wants. He does not want to be a bench player. So every single Raptors fan who wants him to come here and be off the bench, he doesn't want that. There's another key of evidence that's showing he's not a good fit for our team, is that DeMar wants to start. He wants to play for a playoff team. These are his prerequisites. So I don't see him coming to Toronto. I did not see the money. The money's not there. The roster spot's not there. The minutes aren't there. The starting spot is not there. So it doesn't make any sense, DeMar to Toronto. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to say that to Jake's Takes. Sorry, Jake. It's not likely DeRozan's returning to Toronto this year. Let's just put it that way. So, DeMar has said it would be nice to be back in Toronto, but that doesn't mean he's going to do it just because it would be nice. I think he's going to do exactly what Lowry did. He's going to sign a one-day contract with us and retire as a Raptor. He did say a cryptic message yesterday also. It was kind of weird what he said. I'll read it real quick. He said, where is it? Where is it? It's on the Discord. He said this basically. Holy crap, we said so much yesterday. There was so much posted. He said, in closing, I remain the same. I come as I leave. In some ways, this is kind of a statement on, like, you're born the way you are and you leave the same way you are. You're born and then you die. And I mean, it's like, whatever. Does this mean in closing, I remain the same? I come as I leave. He comes as a Raptor. He leaves as a Raptor. Is that what that means? It's a very cryptic message. And of course, he tweeted it at like 1:30 in the morning the other night. So, I mean, reading DeMar is really tough to read. In some ways, he fucks with people. He is trolling. He will say crazy shit or cryptic shit just to keep people guessing. I still think that he's got to go to a team that needs him as a starter for firepower, and he should get those minutes and continue to climb the all-time career scoring list for the NBA. That's how I feel about DeMar. I don't care about a happy reunion with us. He's going to get that either way because he'll sign the one-day contract like Lowry, and he'll get the number 10 in the rafters. Sorry, Aubrey. That's happening, okay? That's going to happen. DeRozan's going in the rafters at Scotiabank. You don't have no say in that shit. You really don't. So that's the way I look at it right there. That's the way I look at it. UC saying, pretty surprising he's taking this long to sign a new contract. Not really. Not really. There's like the beginning of the free agency stuff, and it kind of all drops. And then there's kind of like jockeying and kind of seeing what's still going on the terrain of the free agency and the signing and the possibilities in the offseason. And well, it's going to happen at some point. It could very well be that DeMar, much like LeBron, is taking a discounted veteran minimum to join a team that's pretty established and that does have a real chance to do postseason, because that's all he cares about right now. He's been languishing on teams that have missed out on the postseason, and he wants to play in meaningful games after the regular season's over, and that means postseason. So that's a prerequisite. That's why he can't just stay in Sacramento. That's why he can't just go to a jabroni team and just fill it up for another jabroni team that has no chance for the playoffs. He has to go to a team that has a chance, and he wants to start. That's what he's saying right there. Yeah, Trevor's saying she won the G-Wagon truck 100,000 for that G-Wagon. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. In some ways, I don't really care. You're saying that Kayla Gray won a car? Okay, I mean, who cares? Who cares? Drake gave her a car. That's what happened. Okay. UC saying RJ would not come off the bench if DeMar came back as well. I bet a one-day contract would definitely heal a lot of wounds, though. Probably happening in a season or two at this rate. Yeah, I mean, that's not a trade that I want to make. Once again, I'm super protective of RJ and his spot and everything that he gets from the Raptors. I don't want RJ traded. I want RJ in the starting lineup, and I want RJ to do exactly what he's been doing for us the last couple years. Nothing wrong with what RJ is doing. And in some ways, like I've said, DeMar coming into Toronto, it clouds the situation with RJ. And I think that our enemies are pushing this to a degree. People know that we really care about DeMar, and they're being manipulative. They're pushing this whole DeMar to Toronto thing, and nephews are catching on to it and wanting it, like nephews like Jake. I'm sure he's a nephew. He's probably got uncle. And that's what I think this is. I think that in some ways it's an insidious way to kind of try and make things toxic between Raptors Nation, Fan Nation, and DeMar, because we over talk about it. It's in his mind. He's seen it, but he's probably handling it a much more clear way than we are. So let's just chill. Let's leave it alone and understand there's no place for him on our team. And we want to protect RJ. And that in some ways, this is toxic. The more we talk about DeMar DeRozan coming to Toronto, because it's probably not going to happen. Yeah, healing wounds. We don't need to heal any wounds. DeMar's healed his wounds with us. It's apparent. The pain he had towards us getting traded by Masai for Kawhi so long ago has been healed. He healed that shit in Chicago. He's been healed. He went through a really bad time in San Antonio, and Popovich helped him a lot. He lost his dad. He really, really was going through it. He talks about in his book, Above the Noise, very, very in detail. And at a certain point, he came around and said, I don't have any hate towards Toronto. Toronto's like an ex-girlfriend, but we're cool. And I enjoy coming back. I enjoy seeing the people. The people still love me. The fan nation still loves me and respects me. I respect and love my part in the Raptors history, and that will never change. In some ways, Toronto is still my city. I still ride for this city, even though I haven't worn their jersey in a long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's healed with us. He's cool with us. He's made it very clear. He has no ill will or feelings towards the Raptors organization, our city, or our fans in a bad way because of the trade. So it really is not necessary. And in some ways, that was for him in his own time, in his own way to do it. It had nothing to do with any of us. And he's done it. He's put it to rest. He's at peace. And that's why when he comes back and signs that one-day contract like Kyle, it's going to be a huge celebration. And we will put his jersey up in the rafters. And we will give him that amazing treatment, just like we showed Vince Carter, just like we're going to show Kyle Lowry this season. And it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. And if DeMar DeRozan goes to the Hall of Fame, he will go to the Hall of Fame as a Raptor. Another Raptor going to the Hall of Fame, just like Vince, just like Kyle Lowry will probably go too. Some people may argue they don't see Lowry and DeRozan as Hall of Famers, but they're full of shit. I can make a case for both of them separately for why they are Hall of Famers. And both of them, trust me, will go in as Raptors. Even if DeMar had the things that in his history with us, he will go in as a Raptor still. It's not like he's going to go in as a Bull or a Spur or a King. Come on, guys. He'll go in as a Raptor if he goes in the Hall of Fame. We know that. We know that for sure. That's right. All right, let me keep going. I'll do my HD for today. We're on the last line of the gate of privacy. the gate of retreat, gate 33, and it's about holding privacy and protecting yourself. And the last word of the day for this, the sixth line is dissociation. Disassociation. Disassociation. The ability to let go. In detriment, it's the ability to shred the larger framework that precipitated the retreat, leaving nagging doubts that hamper revitalization, the inability to completely let go. So, in some ways, the word for today is to dissociate from things that are bad from you, is to let go of things that are bad for you and completely let go. If you don't let go, you're putting yourself at a detriment, is what this is saying. So the exaltation is the will to concentrate on revitalization and not be handicapped by persistent recriminations, the ability to let go and retreat to enjoy privacy. Yeah. Yeah. This is a big topic in today's world, privacy. We need to all protect our rights to privacy. So, yeah, that's the line of the day. Gate 33, line 6. Dissociation. Tomorrow we'll be moving to the next gate, which is gate 7. And we'll go over that tomorrow when I come back tomorrow for the stream. That's right. We're going to say a happy birthday to Desi Justice Carton, otherwise known as DJ Carton. DJ Carton's birthday is today. He is 26. And well, last year he was on the Birmingham Squadron, the G League team for the New Orleans Pelicans. He did not play in the NBA last year. He only played on G League, but he has 2 years in the NBA for the Raptors, and he played 4 games each year, 8 games total in his NBA career, 1.8 points per game. I'm going to say this, Monique. Elijah Martin's not that much better than DJ Carton. And DJ Carton only got 8 games in his NBA career. I'm just saying, we'll see how things work out. But yeah, happy birthday to DJ Carton, which is awesome. DJ is somebody that was a recent Raptor, and we wish him well. But man, it's tough to make this league. Any guy who's around that height who wants to play shooting guard, you better play point guard like DJ Carton. That's what I'm going to say right there. You better play point guard like DJ Carton. So, yeah, that's my birthday of the day. All right, let's see. Get y'all's WNBA fantasy team set up. Our league is very competitive this week. I'm losing to Logical Raptors Fanatic, which is weird because he's normally not trying, and he's trying this week because he's playing me, I guess. I don't know why. Also in the lead right now, Cool Cat, Fiercey, Reese's Nieces, and MK Meredith have leads in our WNBA fantasy league on ESPN. So check your lineups and get your lineup set for tonight. That's right. Most saying 905 tryouts are always so pricey. Damn. It's expensive to try and make the NBA. I think it's like $200 or something like that to come down and try out for 905. Look, it could be worth your while. We've had some people come down and try out, and they made the team and got to play for that season. So, we've had at least one walk-on every year. And they may have came from other places and they're very qualified. People like Evan Gilliard, Jaden Mediaco, but they made it and through that way. So we're going to have to see how it works this year. See if there's any gem for Noah Lewis that we find from 905 tryouts that will be held for the public. That's the way you can get in the league. That's how you do it, Mark Wahlberg. Like that football movie with the Philadelphia Eagles. Walk on and be somebody from the local community and go to the Raptors 905 tryouts and try and make the team through that. Maybe some of the Scarborough shooting stars need to go down there and pay the fee and try and make it to the NBA that way. Yeah, it's a lot like that, man. It's a lot like that. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good morning, Shaq Lindsay. Thank you for supporting the channel. He's saying, I agree with you, Lex. DeMar might not be the right fit, but I have to disagree with you that all signs do point to his return. Pending on the outcome of the Kawhi situation, I think the Clippers will waive their trade exception and we will have enough money to pay him. He won't start, but suspension pending on Kawhi, he will get considerable minutes. I don't see this at all. This is crazy. You're supposing a lot to think that Kawhi is going to waive that. I don't think that's for sure. Everybody keeps saying that Kawhi is going to waive the trade thing, but he may not. Seriously. He may not, and we may have to do that whole thing. I mean, in some ways, Bobby can't be making this trade in mind thinking, oh, Kawhi's going to do this for us, the trade kicker, the trade bonus. You can't say that that's for sure, and that's the way this is gonna happen. I don't see it. I really don't. I really, really don't. There's all kinds of different reasons. I've named them over the last month. I could go over the top 10 reasons why DeMar DeRozan coming to Toronto is just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. Clippers will waive the trade exception. It's not up to the Clippers, it's up to Kawhi. And we know how money grubbing Kawhi is and Uncle Dennis, that they want to get side deals in some ways. No, it's Kawhi's decision. It's not the Clippers' decision. Kawhi Leonard has to decide to kick the $3 million extra that he gets because he's getting traded. It's Kawhi's choice. It doesn't have anything to do with the Clippers. It doesn't have anything to do with Clippers. No, it's not a good fit. It doesn't work. Jake was trying to talk about it on his show that he said, I know that DeMar's not the best defensive player, but if he's on the team with the Raptors, he can be covered up with great defensive players that are on the team. It just doesn't work, guys. It just doesn't work. It really doesn't. And I wish you guys would stop trying to push this, because in some ways it's sad, it's toxic, and we need to stop doing this. We don't want to get DeMar's hopes up, first of all. And in some ways, this is not good for us for going for our next championship. Let's just put it that way. And in some ways, we got to stay on task for what we care about with our team. And I care about getting the next championship. That's the number one priority. I don't care about making things tied up in a nice bow and making feelings better for certain things that happened so long ago. No, things are fine. We don't need to do that. A lot of this is just nostalgia driven, and it's not realistic driven, is what I'm saying, guys. It's not realistic driven. If you want to have Barrett or DeRozan, I mean, I'd rather have Barrett right now. And I love DeMar. It's just that there's a lot of time has passed. We've got guys that have already been working together, building chemistry and gelling. You've got to understand the workload and the way that DeMar works. He demands the ball a lot, and that may take away from some of the things that we've been doing. Plus, I would make a big argument once again that DeRozan does not fit the 0.5 offense that Darko likes to run, which has a lot of ball movement and moving the ball all over the place. DeMar needs to isolate. DeMar needs to work himself with his back of the basket and turning around shots and work. His offensive game doesn't even fit our offensive system. So there's good reasons. He doesn't fit in our defensive identity, and he doesn't fit in our offensive system, is what I say, is what I see right now. Yeah, that's the way I look at it right there. Let's see. Blackhawks here. He's got the goats out. All right. I like that. Meh. Superfan saying, I can't see Shaq's comment. Why? Well, honestly, Mo, it could be that you've blocked him by accident. There may have been some slipped fingers and hitting buttons or something. You may have blocked his account by accident. You know, I took away y'all's moderators, you and Trevor, because you guys were banning people by accident with slipping on the keyboard and stuff. Trevor banned Blackhawk for a month recently, and we didn't even know Blackhawk was not on the channel until Blackhawk texted me and said, yo, Lex, why can't I comment in the chat? And then I went and looked in the blocked users, and somebody had blocked him by accident. So I took mods off of like 3 of y'all because there had been too much of mistakes like that. So it could very well be that you've blocked Shaq Lindsay by accident, and that's why you can't see his comments. Also, check and see if you have top chat and you don't have full live chat on, because that's another way that filters the comments where you can't see them, just so you know. All right, let's do the classic card. And the weird thing is, this is the last classic card in this box. There's no other choice. It wasn't me. I don't know. I don't know why you can't see Shaq Lindsay. It could very well be that you blocked user from you seeing user or something like that. Either that, or it's that you got to put instead of top chat, put live chat on the YouTube chat, because the top chat filters out certain people. If you put live chat, you see everybody. That's it right there. Shaq Lindsay saying getting DeMar will have no effect on RJ. No, that's not true. They play the same position. They play the same role, actually. I'm almost certain RJ will be extended because you are not getting anything better. I hope you're right. I love that. That's exactly stuff I want to hear right there for sure. All right, here's the classic card of the day. This one is extremely hard. It's part of the reason why I left it as the last one. We are looking at the Magic player, not number 20 for the Bullets, which I believe is Mark Allery. But yeah, who is that Magic player right there? full name answer for the classic card of the day. The last one out of the classic card box. I'm going to have to get some more cards to fill it up, and I'm going to do that after the show so that I'm ready for tomorrow. But yeah, who is that Orlando Magic player that's here on this card for the classic card of the day? This is a hard one. This will probably be like a 300-point card because this is a hard one. You guys give me some guesses, and I can go ahead and give you some clues as to his name. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. Sam Vincent. That's a good guess, Slug Deezy, because he does look like a little bit like Sam Vincent, original Magic player who was drafted from the Chicago Bulls in the or the Celtics. Either the Bulls or the Celtics. Sam Vincent came from, but no, it's not Sam Vincent. Rashard Lewis. This guy's not that tall. This is definitely a point guard like Sam Vincent. Yeah, it's not Rashard. And Rashard's a little later. This guy has the same last name as a player for the Warriors that I really don't like. So that should be a good clue right there. So he has the same last name, Nick Anderson. He does look like Nick Anderson, but he's not Nick Anderson. He's a little bit smaller than Nick Anderson, but he does look like Nick Anderson. That's a good guess, Stargate. That's a good guess. Original draft pick of the Magic franchise, the first ever draft pick of the Orlando Magic franchise, Nick Anderson. Also, the guy who flubbed the free throws against Olajuwon and the Rockets in the finals and will forever be known for that. There we go. Kaloy got it. It's Laterial Green. I know, even with that name, Laterial Green. He got that from the Draymond clue. This guy has the same last name as a guy on the Warriors that I don't like. And Laterial Green is the answer. 300 points for Kaloy on an extremely hard classic card of the day to me, man. Laterial Green, I mean, you could look at it. 6'1" out of Georgia, out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. That's right. He only played like the 1 year, I think. Yeah, that's big time. That's big time, Kaloy. That is big time. Laterial Green. Wow. How did you do that? I'm really impressed with you, Kaloy. Really, really impressed that you got this one. All right, let me write it in, and then I'll add it to the score so I can do real-time scoring for it. All right, let's see. Let's put this in. Laterial. That's a wild name right there, right? Laterial. It's like literal green. Literal green. What is he doing in the NBA? He's making literal green. That's right. Kaloy. Carlo JS is the one who got it, and we're giving him 300 points for a super hard card. So going to the totals. Let me see. I'll add it in right now, and I'll give you guys an update on the standings and how this made it change. Just a real quick programming note. This Saturday, we're going to do a Share the Love Club for AJ Lawson. AJ Lawson is going to Spain to play for Baskonia. And, well, we got to show appreciation for AJ and his stint with the Raptors and what he's done the last few years for us on the Raptors. So we're going to be doing AJ Lawson Share the Love Club on Saturday morning, guys. So be here for that. That's right. All right, so Kaloy, you're jumping over 3 of the other Raptors freaks with this one today. You're going to go past Kaz, Isaac Campbell, and Kareem Thomas. You're at 550. So going down to Kaloy in the countdown, Slugged Easy, 2650. Stargate, 1850. Fiercey, 1631. Seymour, 1250. Kene, 900. Smooth, Brown Man, 700. UC, 600. And Kaloy, 550. So you're like 8th now, Kaloy, getting the 300-point laterial green card. That's right. The clue got it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Take care, Raptors freaks. Thank you, UC. All right, guys, I guess I'll wrap it up. Thank you for watching the stream today. The Tempo lost the Valkyries again last night. Unfortunately, they have been swept by Golden State this season. I hate it. I don't want this to happen. I don't like getting swept by any team, but we're an expansion team in the first year. And in some ways, this is just part of the hardship of that situation and trying to figure out your team and get better over time. So hopefully next year, we have very few sweeps of our team like we have this year. There's quite a few teams that have swept us this year already. The Lynx, the Valkyries, teams like that. So we can't be having sweeps. We got to at least get competitive where we're winning at least one game against each team every year. And that'll be a goal for the years to come for the expansion Toronto Tempo. My stars of the game, once again, Niara Sabali, Julia Alamon, and Anissa Morrow are my top 3 stars of the game. Honorable mention to Maria Conde for another star of the game. So, yeah, all right, I'm out, guys. Tomorrow, CBL action, playoff day, first day of the action. I highly recommend people watch these games. They're going to be very exciting tomorrow night. The first round of the CBL playoffs, one and done. 8 teams will play, 4 will go on, 4 will be eliminated tomorrow. And I'll be at the Scarborough game at Pan Am Center, sitting in Nab Bhatia seats at the end of the court underneath the basket. It'll be fun. You'll see me on TV too. If you guys watch the game, you'll definitely be seeing me on the camera because I will be sitting where the camera shoots and you'll be able to see me underneath the basket. So, yeah, check out CBL playoff action starting tomorrow, even if the number 1 scorer in the league is out because he got beat up on Sunday. And the teams that are the top 2 teams in the East are going to get suspended for a bunch of their players. It's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. So, yeah, congratulations to the Raptors on making a couple acquisitions yesterday also. It'll be interesting to see how Jemison and Jackson do in training camp with Toronto Raptors. All right, I'll be back tomorrow with a preview of the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo on the road for the Tempo 10 p.m. Eastern start. I'm going to try and go to the Scarborough game and get back fast to get home to watch the Tempo game afterwards at home. Yeah, it's a busy day tomorrow for me. All right, y'all. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Let's go Tempo. And let's end this 7-game losing streak. It sucks.